A former Israeli military intelligence chief says Iran now has what it needs to build a nuclear bomb. The U.S. disagrees and says Iran is still years away.
The warning comes as the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff makes his first visit to Israel today. Here's Chris Mitchell from Jerusalem.
Prior to Dempsey's meeting, some reports suggested the U.S. is pressuring Israel so it won't attack Iran's nuclear facilities without U.S. approval. Israeli Major General Amir Eshel addressed but did not deny those suggestions earlier this week.
We have a very intimate and deep professional discussion with the U.S. militaries and the defense establishment.
Former Israeli ambassador to the U.S. Zaman Shoval says those bilateral discussions will be important.
Because there may be a certain debate going on between experts, Israeli experts, American experts, whether the Iranians are 1 year away from a bomb or 2 years away from a bomb.
U.S. and Israeli intelligence may not agree on Iran's nuclear timetable, but two recent announcements have raised the stakes between Iran and the West. First, Iran announced it would start enriching uranium in this underground facility at Fordow. This makes a potential military strike much more difficult. Iran also said it would close the strategic Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. and EU implemented severe sanctions against Iran's oil exports. If Iran did try to close the strait, they would likely use these short-to-ship missile batteries equipped with Chinese Silkworm missiles, seen in these exclusive CBN News satellite photos. They're located at Abu Musa, one of the islands Iran controls in the straits. Meanwhile, Russia announced this week that it would stand by Iran in case of any attack. Russia's outgoing ambassador to NATO, Dmitry Rogozin, told reporters, "Iran is our neighbor, and if Iran is involved in any military action, it's a direct threat to our security." Even so, Iran remains a potential threat to Israel's very existence and a deadly danger to other countries as well. General Eshel said if Iran gets a nuclear bomb, it could change the world. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
I want to encourage you to pray for our president, pray for our leaders, and pray for Israel. We live in very difficult times. There's so many different hot spots, so many different things that you just look at them and go, how can anyone have the wisdom needed to steer us through this? So pray for him and pray that God would give him unusual wisdom. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN newsroom. Lee?
Gordon, multiple sources say Texas Governor Rick Perry is dropping out of the race for president. The AP is reporting that he will throw his support behind Newt Gingrich. Perry had been campaigning this week in South Carolina, and he took part in a pro-life debate last night in Greenville. All of the candidates were there except the frontrunner, Mitt Romney. Jennifer Wishon reports.
At a pro-life presidential forum, candidates showed off their social conservative credentials.
The Constitution is what it says it is, and we need to put strict constructionists on the Supreme Court that will not try to interpret the Constitution to mean something else. And when the issue of...
I always say that it's one thing to check the box and say you're for life. It's another thing to go out and stick your head out of the foxhole and lead the charge.
Former Speaker Newt Gingrich told the standing room only crowd that America is at a turning point in the debate over the sanctity of life.
This may be the first time in some ways since leaving the Garden of Eden where we have to come back and address the question of what does it mean to be human.
All of the candidates who've signed the Personhood USA pledge to protect life attended the event. Even Congressman Ron Paul joined via satellite from Washington.
Liberty can't be protected if we don't protect life itself.
It's a delicate balance for candidates working to woo social conservatives because voters are also desperately looking for someone to help bring jobs to the Palmetto State. At nearly 10%, South Carolina's unemployment rate is higher than the national average. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, South Carolina.
Consumers cut their credit card debt last year. That's because Americans didn't spend as much money in a weak economy. Credit card debt fell by 11%. The average balance was still nearly $6,600, but some analysts believe consumers may start spending more this year as the economy improves. And that could mean credit card debt could start to rise again. I'm still amazed, Gordon, that the average balance was nearly $6,600.
Well, we seem to be a nation of debtors. Our government's in debt, and we're all in debt.